Good evening and welcome to a live special edition of Tucker Carlson Tonight. I'm Mark Steyn in for Tucker, who's taking a quiet fishing weekend, but he will be dropping by momentarily. China is the #1 global power. How'd that happen to America? Well, sometimes you get dealt some tough geopolitical cards, as Britain, France, Spain, Portugal could surely all tell us. But sometimes you just do it to yourself. This is one of those stories that would have been a rather dull satire a decade ago, but these days is just standard operating procedure. From a group called Dallas Justice Now, an open letter to wealthy white liberals. Quote, "To our white allies, talk is not enough. Commit yourself towards taking action and making sacrifices to correct centuries of injustice. Open up spaces for Black and Latinx communities by refusing to send your kids to Ivy League and US News and World Report top 50 schools, and encourage friends, neighbors and family members to do the same. Imagine if those hundreds of thousands of spots at these institutions were occupied only by marginalized communities. Imagine the opportunities. We can achieve true equity within our lifetimes, but only if white folks are willing to sacrifice their privileges. Yes, indeed, it's not enough for you nice white allies just to listen to NPR and giggle at how stupid all the white male doofuses are in telecommercials nowadays, and admire how that splendid US ladies soccer team is so committed to getting the taking a knee stuff just right that it's given up goal scoring. These are mere gestures. They cost you nothing. But are you sufficiently all in to take it to the next level of child sacrifice, at least as far as education is concerned? Here's how the pledge goes, quote, "As a white person with privilege, both from my whiteness and my neighborhood, I recognize the need to make sacrifices for the purpose of correcting hundreds of years of murder, slavery, discrimination, and lack of educational and economic opportunities perpetrated upon people of color. I understand that access to top schools is a key component in economic and social advancement. Therefore, I commit that my children will not apply to or attend any Ivy League school or US News and World Report top 50 schools, so that position at that school is available for people of color to help correct historical wrongs. Don't be a racist hypocrite. Sign the pledge today." And just in case you were thinking of tossing it on the pile with the supermarket coupons and the Publishers Clearinghouse, you may already have won postcards. Dallas Justice Now adds this warning, quote, "Please note, Dallas Justice Now will be publicly announcing the names of those who have and have not signed the pledge." So if you white liberal allies are just thinking you can point to your tax-deductible donation to the El Paso Festival of Aspiring Rappers, that ain't going to cut it anymore. The O'Rourke family from Texas tried that to the point where their cute little middle schooler, Beto, never missed an opportunity to excoriate himself.
As a white man who has had privileges that others could not depend on or take for granted, I've clearly had advantages over the course of my life.
The way in which I acknowledge the truth of the criticism that I have enjoyed white privilege, absolutely, undeniable.
You're right. There are things that I have been privileged to do in my life that others cannot.
It's not because I'm a great person or I'm a genius or I figured anything out. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm a white man.
Okay, so did you give up your place at Columbia University, currently third in the nation, and let the family pool boy go instead? No. Beto went. He majored in skateboarding with a minor in air guitar and wrote his master's thesis on socio-racial self-flagellation as identity politics survival strategy. If you were a person of color, you might eventually suspect that Beto's constant confessions of his privilege are simply an easy way for him to maintain it. In the 19th century, white guys made the big bucks by being blackface minstrels. In the 20th century, white guys made the big bucks by doing safe cover versions of black music. And now in the 21st century, white guys, in this case, a white guy who's whiter than any white guy you have seen since Leave It to Beaver, these white guys make the big bucks by telling all the other whites to be less white. Professor Sam Williams of the wretched Penn State University hosts an utterly worthless class.
To be less white is to be less oppressive, less arrogant, less certain, less defensive, less ignorant, be more humble, listen, believe, break with party, and break with white solidarity. What do you think about that?
Like, I think, it's more or less just recognizing the advantages you have in life, whatever that may be, and not thinking yourself superior because of that.
What white people would find that offensive?
Conservatives, I guess.
Well, what's the point that it's trying to say?
I don't know how to say. I don't want to get canceled, so I'm trying to be careful what I say.
Who have you guys oppressed today?
I haven't oppressed anyone today.
Are you sure of that, dude? You're breathing. Have you left your house today?
Yes.
Okay, so you may have oppressed somebody.
You may have oppressed somebody just by breathing. What a great country. America is the only place on earth where whites can become multi-gazillionaires by declaring that all other whites are bleep holes.
I'll never forget asking a group, okay, so what if you could just give us feedback on our inevitable and often unaware racist assumptions and behaviors? And I'll never forget this black man raising his hand and saying, it would be revolutionary. Wow. And just take that in. I just want all the white people to just take that in. Revolutionary, that we would receive the feedback with grace, reflect, and seek to change our behavior. That's how difficult we are.
Wow.
That's how big a-holes we are.
Yeah.
White liberals, don't forget to pre-order Robin DiAngelo's forthcoming book, Why You're a Pathetic Racist Bleep Hole, and buying this book isn't going to change that. So Dallas Justice Now has correctly, if very belatedly, grasped that the white liberals' tedious pantomime of fake civilizational disavowal and pseudo-self-loathing isn't getting them anywhere. And they're demanding that the O'Rourke family actually forswear Columbia University and his fellow Texas liberals do likewise. They're absolutely right. This is win-win. Your kid will learn just as much at Dead Buzzard Junction Community College, well, except for the basket weaving and puppetry, which is harder than it looks, at least when compared to transgender and colonialism studies. But Dallas Justice Now is not going far enough. They should be publicly calling on Columbia and Harvard and Princeton to give away their blood-soaked endowments to historically black colleges. Better yet, skip that. Ship it straight to Africa. Give it to the Robert Mugabe School of Public Integrity in Bulawayo. Meanwhile, back in the real world, courtesy of the official government statistics, this is the most recent year available, 2019, because last year kids paid 50 grand a year for the occasional Zoom call. So who knows how the 2020 stats will shake out. But just for the record, the percentage of 18 to 24-year-olds enrolled in college by race, whites 41%, blacks 37%. That would be margin of error territory if we were discussing whether Mitt Romney or Liz Cheney was ahead in the latest Iowa caucus poll. Asians come top at 62%. But unless you're a white fifth grader getting his butt kicked in the county mathletes competition, you can't mention that. In second place, at 47%, are persons of two or more races. So these liberal, progressive, racial justice types might want to call for the reintroduction of, what's that word that Democrat states used to have? Oh, yes, miscegenation laws. And in third place, by the way, at 43% are Pacific Islanders, because we all know that wherever you turn in American life, all the guys running everything, the CEOs, the university presidents, the studio heads, are all Samoan and Palauan. Social justice warriors, instead of complaining about microaggressions, should be complaining about Micronesian aggressions. I said back in the real world, but in the real world, that's to say the rest of the planet, education isn't supposed to be about raising already excessively high levels of self-esteem to nuclear strength, but about boring stuff like arithmetic, literature, physics. How are we doing there? According to the OECD, in math, China is number one. Wow, there's a surprise. China number one, and America, let me see here, Estonia, Slovenia, Slovakia. Can you scroll it down a bit? Oh, here we are. Number 37, the United States, just ahead of basket case Belarus. Maybe all the upscale white liberals in Dallas should just agree to send their kids to schools in Belarus. Same results, but a lot cheaper, even with the cost of the plane tickets. To go back to those government statistics, 43% of Pacific Islanders, 41% of whites, 37% of blacks are in college. Those numbers are all way too high because most of those quote-unquote students are not learning anything worth knowing. So staying in school till grade 28, grade 37 is a waste of life. Each year, China graduates getting close to 10 times more STEM students than America does, because STEM is difficult, and doing classics at Princeton, where you no longer need to know Latin and Greek, or English at Yale, where you no longer need to know Shakespeare, isn't difficult at all. Chinese educators think math is important. American educators think math is racist. It's not hard to see where this ends.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.